Okay, let's get started with some foam rolling on our backs. Let's take that foam roller and lie on it, back and forth, all the way up to where your neck meets your shoulders and down to the last rib. So incidentally, that is the thoracic area, which we'll be focusing on a little bit today, more than usual. And I'm actually going to show you a picture later of that. So back and forth on that part of your spine, just kind of feeling everything loosen up as we begin our class today, which is on text neck. So very common. Majority of people experience some symptoms of it at some point in their life, whether it's, something like just a little bit of neck tension or something more severe than that. But thought it relevant to mention since so many people do encounter it at some point in their life. We're just going back and forth, loosening up here on this thoracic spine. You've got your cervical spine, thoracic spine, and lumbar spine. Little anatomy lesson. Cervical is everything in your neck. And then everything below your neck is thoracic until you get to about right below your last rib. And then that turns into your low back, which is your lumbar spine. So we're working today in that region between your neck and your lumbar spine, the low back. So right up and down the middle. Okay. So just talk to you for a second here about the text neck. So text neck is from texting on your phone. No one holds their phone like this. At least I don't normally see people hold their phone like this. Normally it's like this, and that creates a lot of tension in the back of the neck. It makes the shoulders rounded forward. So everything we're going to do today is going to be to reverse this position and to make you into this position, which is very helpful if you're having any text neck related tension. So let me show you a picture on what we're going to work on first. And it's going to be the pecs. So take a look at the right picture here. I've drawn a dotted line on the collarbone. So you're going to be placing the foam roller right underneath your collarbone. You can even place it on your collarbone to kind of figure out, landmark wise where you're going to be. But we're working inside, see this blue circle here. We're working on that upper part of the pecs to start with today. So it's going to be like this. So you've got your collarbone, you're working right below that. And you'll be laying on the foam roller with it kind of in this top part of your pec area. So this is probably going to be helpful for you if you grab a pillow. I'm not going to use a pillow because it kind of muffles my AirPods for sound. But if you want to put a pillow under your head, this is going to be probably more comfortable for you. So we're working on that pec area. So below the collarbone. And once you find that pec area that feels like it's really comfortable, you're going to be moving that hand up and down. And I'll tell you why we're working this area in just a second. So with that rounded shoulder position that so many people adopt when looking at their phones and texting, what happens is these pec muscles that you're feeling underneath the foam roller right now get really tight because they're in a constantly shortened position. And that creates kind of a snowball effect of pulling your shoulders forward even more. So you can readjust an inch or two to the left or right as we're going back and forth here, but I want you to keep pushing your hand up past the top of the mat and then drawing it back down. So your elbow is kind of going straight and then you're bringing your elbow back down to your side. And again, that dotted line that I drew on the collarbone, you want to stay below that. That's not going to feel comfortable if you're on that bone part, but you want to kind of work up and down below that collarbone area. Good. So now we're going to switch sides. So just a reminder again for positioning, you're having that foam roller at this kind of angle. So it's like it's almost like it's passing under your armpit. And that's where it's going to be underneath your body as you're lying on it. Again here, if you'd like to use pillows, you can for your head. So I would like you to be as relaxed as possible here. So the only part of your body doing work is just very slowly reaching up with that arm and then drawing it back to your side. And what this is doing is it's getting some blood flow and it's loosening up those pectoral muscles, which are tight on so many of us. Very, very common. So some of what we're going to be doing today is going to be déjà vu. There's a little bit of crossover because some of the same muscles that are affected with text neck are the things that we have worked on before. So you'll be familiar with a couple of these things we're doing today. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go into a nice pec stretch on the foam roller. If you have a short foam roller like I do, then you're going to want to take a couple pillows and place them on your mat. And you're going to have your foam roller right like this. So your head's going to be supported on your foam roller. Your upper back's going to be supported on your foam roller. And you're just going to lie on top of your foam roller like that and let your arms splay out on either side. So what's important is that your head is still on the foam roller. And this is a pec stretch. Now, if you're not feeling much of a stretch, there's a couple of things I'm going to have you do with your arms. So make sure your arms are straight. You want to have the backs of your hands on the floor. And what you can do is raise your hands up like you're going to reach up over your head. You're not going to reach up over your head, but the more you raise your hands up, the more you start to feel a little bit of a stretch and pull into that pec muscle. So we're going to relax into the stretch. This, as you can see, you can maybe visualize how this is kind of reversing that text neck bent over position. We're kind of doing the opposite. And this is so important for addressing this that we're actually going to touch on it again at the end today before we're done. So let's take a few deep breaths here and really feel that stretch across your chest. And just hang out and let gravity do its work here and give us a nice stretch. Usually when you get in this position, after a minute or so, you can really start to feel your muscles letting go a little bit. And depending on how tight you are, it may take a little bit longer, but it's okay. We're here. You're here as long as you need to be if you're doing this on your own. But today we're going to hang out for just a few more seconds to feel this stretch. I've done something a little different today. I've actually put a couple light exercises into the program for our class because they're so important if you're really actually trying to reverse or help with some text neck issues that you're feeling. They're super simple exercises that you can do anywhere and just really beneficial for kind of reversing some of that forward posture. So that's what we're going to go into next. I'm going to have you take your attention to the screen. I'll show you what I mean by that. So we know text neck, right? That is everything caused from having this forward position. So we're trying to reverse that. So we're actually going to just have that reversed position and hold it face down on the mat. So it's this variation of a Superman. So you're going to want to roll out your hands like this. Everybody start with your palms facing your body. And then I want you to rotate your palms out, thumbs out as much as you can. So this is called external rotation. So right, this is the opposite of what you're doing when you're holding your phone like this. So we're going to have an external rotation, and then we're going to be maintaining that arm position. So remember that while we do a Superman on the mat. So let's head to the mat, face down on the mat. And so you're going to do that palm, rotate out like I showed you. And then what you're going to do, keep your chin tucked in to your chest, and you're going to raise your chest off of the mat. So that's engaging all of those thoracic muscles, the ones we massaged in the beginning with the foam roller, and getting those to fire. Because what happens with text necks, and we're still holding this, this is an isometric hold. We'll let it down in a second. With text neck, those muscles get so stretched out from being bent over, the muscles in your thoracic spine, they start to get weak and they don't fire properly. So just something as simple as this can be a great remedy for that. All right, let's rest for a second. Put your forehead on the mat. A couple deep breaths here. Okay, and we're going to go into this again. So get that palm position, rotate your thumbs out to your side, twist those shoulders back, and tucking your chin and pulling your chest off the mat. So we're holding this position again. So we're going to hold this for a little bit and then rest and do it one more time. And then we're going to massage all those muscles that you feel working right now in that upper back and that thoracic area. So rest. Deep breath. Okay, we're going to go into it one more time. Arms at your side, twist those hands, rotate those palms out, and this is really important to tuck your chin. Because if you're lifting with your head, then that just puts a lot of stress on your neck. So you really want all the muscles in your upper back to be the ones that are working to lift your body off of the mat. Or at least lift your chest off of the mat. So even doing this just a few times a day, literally sitting down for a couple minutes a day and doing this can make a big difference in your posture and everything. So rest now. I'm going to have you turn your attention to the screen again. I have a picture. Some of you will appreciate this. Some of you will think I am too punny, but here it is. We've got the thoracic spine with 4 hammers across it instead of a line. Couldn't resist. Just wanted to demonstrate though that we are going to be working with the foam roller kind of stepwise down the different layers or different levels of the thoracic spine. So you can see this man here with his whole spine. The cervical spine is up here, and then what the orange part is highlighted is the whole thoracic area. So you can see how that stretches down the back from. And we're going to be kind of working down the thoracic spine level by level and loosening up. Because what happens with that forward bent posture is things start to get really tight and they don't move right. So you need to get some movement and mobilization in there. So we're going to be placing this foam roller, starting at the top and then moving down kind of like where the different Thor hammers were, and then moving down. And everybody's going to have a different area that feels good to them or feels like it needs more work. So I'll encourage you to seek those areas out on your own. But what we're going to do is, instead of like in the beginning where we were kind of just like rolling up and down, we're going to be finding that area at the top to start with. And then you're just going to kind of cradle your head in your hand and then really let your head fall back to the mat as much as you can. And then bring your chin in towards your chest as much as you can. So you're arching your back and forth over this foam roller. And that does wonders to get some more mobility in your spine. And if you're having any text neck issues, really loosen up these muscles that can become so tight in here from that. So a few times forward and back over the spine in one area, and then you can kind of roll an inch or two down to another level, another line of Thor hammers, if you will. And we are arching back and forth over again. And chances are you're probably going to run into an area that feels maybe a little bit more restrictive, like you feel like you can't maybe bend forward and back as much or as far range of motion. And that's a good area to kind of hang out in. And you don't have to move on beyond that until you feel like you've kind of worked that out a little bit. Move down a little bit if you want. So we just activated all these muscles. You felt that, right? With the Superman that we just did. And now we're getting into mobilizing and massaging that area that we just worked with that exercise. Okay. So you want to go down as far as you feel like your last rib is there. And just keep dropping your head towards the mat and lifting your chin up towards your chest. And you can kind of pull your head up a little bit with your hands. You don't want to feel like you're having to do, an abdominal crunch to get your chin up towards your chest. You really want to feel pretty relaxed about this. So let's take a few deep breaths as we're doing this, back and forth. Did you know that for every inch that your head is tilted forward to look at your phone or your computer or whatever you have in front of you, your tablet, for every inch that you put your head forward, there are 10 extra pounds of weight on your head. That translates into, if you tilt your head forward 4 inches, you've got about 40 extra pounds of weight that your neck has to hold, which is fine for a few minutes. But if you consider the 3 to 4 hours a week of screen time that most people get, that really adds up and is why text neck is such a problem in our society today. Okay, so we're going to move on. The next thing that gets really, really tight, and this is some crossover from some work we've done before, when you've got your chin down looking at your phone, everything gets really stretched out in the back of the neck. So one of the first things we can do to address tension in the back of the neck muscles is work into where they attach in the base of the skull, which is something that we did a couple classes ago. So we're going to take the base of the foam roller here and just put it right below. You can feel on the back of your head. If you travel down, you can feel where that bone is, where your head kind of meets, the back of your head meets your neck. And you want to go below that bone with the foam roller, and then we're going to lie on that part there. So we're going to start with the left side of the head. You're placing the edge of the foam roller just below where you feel that bony part of your skull is. And then you're just going to gently look from left to right. And that's all we're doing here. If you feel a spot that feels really tender, you can feel free to apply constant pressure on that without moving. But generally speaking, just kind of releasing these neck muscles, turning your head back and forth will do a nice job of that. So kind of like I was talking about, the whole thoracic muscles get weak and they don't fire well when you're in that bent over position. Same thing happens with your deep neck flexors. So we're going to work on that next, but not until we get some good relief in these neck muscles. So we're going to keep twisting. We still have the foam roller on the left side. Keep twisting your head from left to right. Just take a few deep breaths and enjoy the way this feels, getting your neck to release a little bit this morning. Okay. So we're going to switch it to the other side so that you're going to be on the right side of your neck now, right below that bony ridge in your skull where your head meets your neck. Find a spot that feels comfortable and you're going to be twisting your head from left to right again. We're going to be here for about 30 more seconds, and then I will take you through a little stretch for this area. Okay. All right. So we're going to stand up and do a nice stretch that you'll feel in through the back of the neck there. So you're going to interlace your fingers behind your back and kind of pull away from your body a little bit, but then you're going to really tuck your chin into your chest. And what this position does is creates a lot of space in between your shoulder blades and your neck. And you should feel some good stretching that goes all the way from your shoulders to your neck in this position. So before we did the Superman exercise, which was helpful for those upper back posture muscles, now we're going to work on the neck posture muscles. So the cervical spine versus the thoracic. And it's so simple. You can do it while you're driving. All it is instead of being like this, head forward looking, texting, you're just going to tuck the chin and pull back. So here's something you can do. I know some of us aren't driving a lot right now, but you can even do it when you're in the car. If you think about when you're driving, you've got your head forward a little bit, but if you use the car seat, the head of the car seat, you can actually kind of press your head against it. And what we're doing here is working those deep neck flexor muscles that keep you in a good neck position for your posture. So we're going to do that version of that on the mat, because we're all about relaxing today. So we're going to be on our backs on the mat. I just want you to feel what that feels like, tucking your chin, like you're trying to make your chin part of your neck, and you're tucking your chin in and you're pressing, and it's not really intense pressure, just enough to feel those muscles firing in your upper back and your neck. So you're pressing your back of your head into the mat and just holding, kind of like that isometric Superman hold that we just did a few minutes ago. All right. And relax. So this is something you can do anywhere. You can do it standing, sitting, lying down like we're doing now. Go ahead and tuck your chin into your neck again and really make that double chin and press the back of your head into the mat. So these are firing up all those good posture muscles in your neck that get weak and unused if we're in a forward head position, whether it's from texting or something else. So these muscles get neglected sometimes, and it's really easy to just kind of incorporate doing this a few times a day into your day, whether it's in your car or sitting at your desk. Pretty easy to do. Okay, I've got one final thing for us. I promised we would return to the Pec Stretch because it is so, so important in reversing that forward position of the shoulders to get us opened up. We're going to do one thing a little differently though. Going to have you take a pillow to put at your head. This time, when we lie on the foam roller, I'm not going to have your head supported on the foam roller. So before we had the foam roller up underneath the head, and now we're going to have it below the head. So just watch me on the mat here. I want to show you what this looks like. So if I didn't have a pillow under my head and I was laying here like this, like that's way too much bend in your neck. That's not going to feel good at all. But I want you to put as much support under your head as you need to where you can still feel like a little bit of a stretch in the front, but it doesn't feel uncomfortable. So just a slight sensation of stretch there in that neck. And then we are going to do that same arm position that gives us a good chest pec stretch. So stretching those arms out to your side, back of the hands on the floor, bringing your hands up a little bit away from your body if you need to feel more of a stretch in that chest. We're just going to hang out here for a minute, do some deep breathing, and really enjoy that opening feeling of the chest. And now that we've got the head tilted back just slightly, a little bit of opening up into the relaxation of the front of the neck as well. Really try to relax your jaw as well. Let there be some space in between your teeth. Let that lower jaw become slack. It's surprising how much that relaxes your neck as well, if you can just relax that jaw a little bit. And let's slowly roll off of the foam roller. Okay. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed that. If you're feeling a little more opened up in your chest and your neck, just a quick note, there's only one Saturday this month that we're not doing stretch and roll, and it is this Saturday. So the next stretch and roll won't be in for another week until Thursday next week, which we're going to do treat the feet. So who doesn't like that, right? Little foot care for ourselves. And that's it. So enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll see you soon. Thanks.